reporter Hitekani Magwedze, who's out at the Beitbridge Border post monitoring developments there. Hitekani, as we come back to you again, just talk us through some of the latest developments, especially as we've heard President Emmerson Mnangagwa speaking about dark forces and Western sanctions being the reason behind Zimbabwe's ailing economy.
Well, we don't know about that, but we're right here at the border of South Africa and Zimbabwe near Beitbridge. That's the official border, of course. Where we are now is where most of the trucks stop and go inside for loading. But this area here is called the new border, and that's because most of the border areas and the fences are being policed but it seems like this area where we are is where most people from Zimbabwe come in and get assistance to go into Musina. The many people that you see to my left there are people, some of them are Zimbabweans who've come here to get food and essentials inside town. Some of them are just waiting for the metered taxis to take them inside Zimbabwe. Some, however, are people who help the Zimbabweans who come here to try and get those metered taxis. So kind of a facilitating role that some of them play here to help them go into town and get food. And as we've been saying, the situation in Zimbabwe is so dire that despite the fact that there's a lockdown because there is coronavirus fears, most of the households in Zimbabwe are also, of course, finding themselves in a situation where they have to contend with hunger because there's no food in their households. I just want to take you to the situation here so we can show you what actually goes on. As you can see behind me, one of the people is coming in with the load here. Some, we understand, that come in with cigarettes, some come in with alcohol to go and sell inside Musina to make money so that they can go back into Zimbabwe and help their families. These guys here will get a metered taxi and then go inside into Zimbabwe. That's the situation here. Although it's important to point out that there are police here, but we've spoken to some of them and they describe the situation as that it's trying to stop water with the toilet paper, because once you try and stop people from coming in through this area here, as you can see the fences are tampered with, they'll go to another area and try and use that area to come in. So it's clearly a difficult situation that not only Zimbabweans find themselves in, but also the law enforcement officials find themselves in, considering on top of those factors that the new 37 million rand fence that the government has built has been cut in many areas. The last time we were here, it was only one area that it was cut. But ever since then, we will show you some of those shots once we go there. Ever since then, there are many areas of that fence that have been cut already. This goes to show the dire, desperate situation that Zimbabweans find themselves in, and therefore forced to cross the border and contend with many risks to try and come into South Africa, into the small border town of Musina, and try and get essential goods and go back into Zimbabwe and feed their families.
Let's leave it there for now. Our reporter Hitekani Magwedze giving us the latest coming out of the Beitbridge border post in Limpopo. A dire situation, a desperate situation, as we bring that conversation back in studio to Maulo, speaking about police seemingly helpless at this point in time when it comes to containing the situation. As we look at that and our porous borders and South Africa that's on lockdown, trying to do everything possible to ensure that the spread of COVID-19 is curbed, how does this now impact the plans that South Africa has?
Well, it definitely has a big negative impact because, as Hitekani pointed out, many of the people coming through the porous borders are undocumented. Therefore, with South Africa the South African Health Department trying to keep up with the statistics in terms of ensuring it is on top of the number of infections, who's infected where, and making sure that it tracks how people are either recovering, and unfortunately also with the death rate being what it is, it also tries to keep an eye on that. However, when you have undocumented persons coming in through the porous borders, it opens a whole can of worms because there's no way of knowing whether the individuals who are crossing through are COVID-19 positive, and therefore they will then go into communities, and it becomes then next to impossible for the South African government and the health services to keep a lid on the infections. So as we see this particular situation escalating politically in Zimbabwe, and then of course economically as well, people fleeing the economic and political fallout in Zimbabwe, then we also have this conundrum of how then do officials, with the border being what it is at this particular moment, then keep a lid on infections with COVID-19. That's a big issue. And it's interesting that President Mnangagwa mentioned and spoke about COVID-19 there as well.
As we speak, I actually want us to also take a look at what social media has been saying about this. I mean, I've got one tweet here where somebody says, quoting Mnangagwa, dark forces have tampered with growth for too long. And one questioning, what is dark about asking for better health facilities? And also another one here saying, I will not the state of the cause because my children deserve to grow up in a Zimbabwe that is free and fair. We will not tire because hashtag Zimbabwean lives matter today, tomorrow and every day after that. Some really interesting developments coming. I mean, clearly, really upset comments. A lot of people are really upset just having heard what Emmerson Mnangagwa had to say.
Yes, a lot of angry reaction, and I guess this can be expected because a lot of people would feel or would see the similarities playing out, and it's just similarities. I refer to what was happening under the regime of the late President Robert Mugabe, with a clampdown on freedom of expression, a freedom of the press, so to speak. So this can be expected. People are saying that they thought that a new chapter was coming in, and clearly they're not impressed or moved or swayed by Mnangagwa's references to youth development and references to trying and basically developing and alleviating the economic crisis that has plagued Zimbabwe for the longest time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's leave it there for now. Our reporter Tumalo Muhlaudi just giving us some analysis there and a breakdown of what Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa had to say.